the private notice question, inasmuch as this question has not been withdrawn. There might be some repetition, and I do apologize to you, Mr. Speaker, and to members of the House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House will recall that the island of Mauritius was under the direct influence of tropical cyclone Bilal as from Saturday, 13th January 2024, when a Class 1 warning was issued at around 10 a.m. As the cyclone approached our island, a Class 2 and then a Class 3 warning were issued on Monday, 15th January, culminating in a Class 4 warning with cyclonic conditions prevailing on the island until Tuesday, 16th January. As we are all aware, Cyclone Bilal wreaked havoc across the island, causing significant damage to property and pain and suffering to numerous of our compatriots. Moreover, it has now become clear to one and all that climate change is upon us, making weather patterns and their consequences even more unpredictable than ever before. This includes cyclone paths, intensity, and impact in terms, for instance, of rainfall and consequential flooding. Government has not been insensitive to the hardship caused by Cyclone Bilal, and a host of measures were taken to alleviate the sufferings and distress of those afflicted by this calamity. As is normal practice, shelter in social and community centers was offered to individuals and families whose dwelling place became uninhabitable, i.e. damage to property in terms of the question put, whose dwelling had become uninhabitable as a result of the cyclone, and to them the basic necessities were immediately provided on an ongoing basis. Moreover, I'm informed that the Ministry of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity has disbursed 388,750 rupees in terms of cyclone allowance to some 392 families, and 6,437,700 rupees as flood allowance to 3,709 families. Furthermore, government has provided an amount of 7.5 million rupees in the nature of food packs to some 3,750 families. In addition, government acknowledged the fact that the prolonged interruption of electric power supply caused significant loss in terms of foodstuff. Accordingly, a one-off financial assistance of 2,000 rupees is being provided to households having been deprived of electricity for more than 12 consecutive hours during the passage of the cyclone. Thus, I'm given to understand that as at date, a total amount of 77.6 million rupees has been dispersed to 38,821 subscribers, and I understand this is still ongoing. I am also informed that as at date, financial assistance to the tune of about 108 million rupees has already been extended to some 7,296 farmers affected by the cyclone and registered with the Small Farmers Welfare Fund and the Farmers Protection Scheme. This amount comprises, we're talking of damage to property, this amount comprises payment of a one-off financial assistance of 10,000 rupees per arpent to non-sugar planters, including tea growers, payment of a special support to planters for the repairs for damaged plastic or net covers of their sheltered farms, a new loan scheme to planters for the rehabilitation of sugarcane, vegetable, fruits, and flower cultivation, and hydroponic units affected by Cyclone Bilal, 50,000 rupees per planter for repairs to damaged greenhouses, free distribution of seeds to affected planters, payment of between 10,000 and 25,000 rupees to breeders for deceased animals, as well as payment of a financial support of 5,000 rupees per bee colony loss. As for property of fisherwomen and fishermen, I understand that there is a scheme under the Fishermen Welfare Fund providing for compensation of 10,000 rupees for damaged boats. Following the passage of Cyclone Bilal, 51 cases have been registered and are being processed. As regards damages caused to motor vehicles during the passage of Cyclone Bilal, I am informed that government has at date disbursed some 26.7 million rupees as compensation to 385 beneficiaries. There are 734 cars which have incurred total loss, and there are 986 pending cases awaiting information from either insurers or government valuers. As regards residential property, assessment of the extent and value of damages attributable to the cyclone is a very complex issue. While some affected property owners chose to report the matter to the police immediately after the cyclone, many bona fide individuals did not do so, making it extremely difficult, firstly, to determine the precise number of victims, of bona fide victims of the cyclone, secondly, to effect a contemporaneous assessment of damages, and thirdly, to define the appropriate nature and extent of assistance and or compensation called for. Nonetheless, government decided to provide relief to those in need of assistance in different ways. For instance, a scheme operated by the National Empowerment Foundation was extended to the poorest section of the community, providing soft loans up to a maximum of 130,000 rupees for repair work to their homes made necessary by the cyclone's impact. Secondly, the existing building materials scheme at the National Housing Development Company Limited is available to households whose homes have been affected by Cyclone Bilal, subject to specific conditions of eligibility to guard against abuse. Moreover, the Mauritius Housing Company Limited, MHC, has come up with a new loan scheme whereby affected households may contract loans of up to 250,000 rupees at an interest rate of 5% per annum, with a repayment period of 10 years to undertake repair works to their property. Mr. Speaker, sir, all the above measures reflect government's constant and unconditional commitment to help cyclone victims recover after the passage of Bilal and to guard against calamities flowing from cyclones and other natural disasters in the age of climate change.
Mr. Speaker, sir, following the floods in March 2013, several households in the vicinity of Canal Dayot received 100,000 rupees, 100,000 rupees per family from the Prime Minister's Relief Fund. Similarly, following the flood in Fond-du-Sac in 2019, victims received 6,000 rupees per adult, 3,000 rupees per children. So we are also Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Why has no fund been used from the Prime Minister's Relief Fund to compensate the victims who have lost a lot of properties, furniture, appliances, and foodstuff during the Cyclone Bilal?
As I have endeavored to explain, this is a very complex issue. In the case of Canal Dayot, we spoke of a specific region where it was relatively easy to ascertain who the affected persons or households were. And the same holds for Fond-du-Sac. In this particular event, it's the whole of the island that was affected. And the honourable gentleman will agree with me that it is not as easy a task to determine. I don't want to repeat my question, but I stated that some people reported the matter to the police immediately after, in which case they were issued with a form. In some cases, the police went on site and visually gave a first-hand account of what had happened. Many persons, bona fide persons, did not go to the police. So, as at now, to ascertain the precise number in each region of the country is not an easy task. Secondly, there has been no contemporaneous assessment of damages, which makes it extremely difficult for the authorities. And thirdly, to determine on a case-to-case basis, unless it is suggested that there should be a blanket approach, irrespective of extent of verifiable damage, to define the nature and the extent of assistance to be provided is very difficult. Should the honourable gentleman have a specific proposal, then I shall be very happy to communicate it to government.
So the time taken by this question, bear with me. I am talking, you are talking. Where? Yeah, whatever. This is between you politicians. Okay? Yeah, quiet. So I was telling you the amount of time that this question has taken will impede other questions. So I stop there. I will ask the next MP Fokyun Basha.
B24.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Roselle that following the passage of Cyclone Belal on Tuesday, 16th of January 2024, its officers conducted surveys across the town, including the region falling under its jurisdiction, as soon as the safety bulletin was waived, in order to determine the extent of damage caused to the road infrastructure as per its established protocol. The survey revealed that damages have been caused as follows. Due to water infiltration below the road surface, extensive damage has been caused to 5 roads in the region of Chapman View, Coromandel, necessitating complete reconstruction of these roads as per list at Annex 1, which I'm going to circulate. Secondly, damage to 14 roads as per list Annex 2, necessitating extensive cut and patch work. And thirdly, 3 roads as per Annex 3 has been damaged requiring resurfacing work. I'm informed that the cost estimate for the reconstruction of the 5 roads which were extremely damaged in the region of Mosuma Chapman View, Coromandel, is 20 million rupees, and financial clearance has already been obtained for the work. Bid has been launched on the 1st of March 2024, and the offers received are under evaluation. As regard to the 14 road necessitating extensive cut and patchwork, the cost estimate is 508,875 rupees, and financial clearance has been obtained. Bidding documents are being finalized, and bids will be launched on the 27th of March 2024. However, minor patching work have already been completed by the in-house labor of the council. And thirdly, the cost estimate for resurfacing of the 3 roads is 1,180,100 rupees, and financial clearance has been obtained. Work order have been issued on the 15th of March 2024, and the contractor is expected to start the work on the 26th of March 2024, that is today. Thank you.
D'après la réponse de l'honorable ministre, il est au courant de l'ampleur des dégâts de certains chemins, notamment à Chapman's View, à Coromandel, où les chemins sont effondrés avec d'énormes crevasses à presque 1 mètre de profondeur. Puis-je demander à l'honorable ministre, donc, quand vont débuter ces travaux à Chapman's View et quand ces travaux seront complétés?
I've just mentioned, Mr. Speaker, bid have been launched on the 1st of March and offers receive are under evaluation now. Once we evaluate it, obviously we are going to start the work.
Est-ce que l'honorable ministre a l'intention de demander qu'un rapport soit fait pour situer les responsabilités sur l'effondrement de ces chemins, qui sont de toute évidence le résultat d'une mauvaise construction et qui représentent un gaspillage d'argent public pour réparer les erreurs d'une construction mal faite?
No, but we'll have to look into it. I mean, if these roads had been built long time ago, it's a bit difficult to situate the responsibility now. Whereas if it's of recent construction, then we'll look into it, obviously.
Next question.
B25, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I shall be replying to this parliamentary question. Dengue fever is caused by the dengue virus, which is primarily transmitted to humans through the bite of the infected Aedes mosquitoes. These mosquitoes are most active during daytime, particularly early morning and late afternoon. Dengue is not directly contagious from person to person, but spreads through the bite of infected mosquitoes, Mr. Speaker, sir. I am informed that since many years back there is an operational plan for the prevention and control of chikungunya, dengue, and Zika in our republic, and this plan has been prepared by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The plan was last updated in September 2021. It comprises the operational procedures for managing outbreaks, including overall planning, coordination for logistics of an outbreak investigation, management of cases, situation monitoring, adult and larval control, social mobilization, and communication strategies. Another component of the plan also encompasses the surveillance task for inter-epidemic period. Since the resurgence of dengue in December last year, relevant actions were initiated as per the plan, taking into consideration the specificities of the actual epidemic. With regard to Part A, the first part of Part A of the question, I am informed that there are some 261 handheld thermal fogging machines and 2 vehicle-mounted fogging machines currently in use. As a date, the ministry has 96 already trained personnel from the Public Health and Food Safety Department who usually carry out routine vector control activities during inter-epidemic period, for example, if there's a detection of an imported case. Due to the evolution of the epidemic trend, the manpower was reinforced with the collaboration of the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security, the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, the Mauritius Police Force, and other institutions. A total of 378 personnel have been mobilized for vector control activities. The additional personnel have, of course, been trained prior to starting the vector control exercise. Mr. Speaker, I wish to point out that this fight against dengue is not just restricted to fogging activities, which mainly kill adult mosquitoes, but the fight also includes larviciding and destruction of mosquito breeding sites. Larviciding is carried out by spraying a larvicide solution in stagnant water that cannot be disposed of, and also by the destruction of mosquito breeding sites through the elimination of the stagnant water. For example, if you have a flower pot which has water accumulated in it, it's as simple as tipping the pot over and getting rid of the water. The established protocol for fogging activities is based on the activities of the female mosquitoes, as has been advised by the entomologist of the Ministry of Health. This practice has been endorsed by the World Health Organization consultants. Fogging can be carried out from 5:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning and 3:30 to 8 p.m. in the afternoon. However, it has been deemed more appropriate that larviciding activities be carried out every day in the morning and fogging activities be carried out in the afternoon from the hours 3:30 to 8 p.m. With regard to the frequency, to repeat the fogging activities, the protocol differs based on the number of cases detected in that area. During the larviciding activities, an inspection of the premises is conducted and inhabitants are also educated on the elimination of mosquito breeding sites. Sensitization of the population is also carried out by the Non-Communicable Disease and Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I would like to remind this August Assembly how crucial community involvement happens to be in the fight against dengue. Without the support of the population, we will fail against this epidemic, and therefore I choose this opportunity and thank the Honourable Member for putting the question in the first place. I choose this platform to make an appeal to the whole population to ensure that they take the appropriate measures to keep their yards clean and to get rid of potential mosquito breeding sites. Mr. Speaker, sir, as to the second part of Part A of the question, the House may wish to note that as at date, 25,000 boxes of mosquito coils as well as 618,750 repellent creams have been procured. In addition, 11,592 repellent lotions and jellies have been received as a donation from the World Health Organization. The mosquito repellents are being distributed on a priority basis to the persons infected as well as in hotspots region in an attempt to circumvent the spread of the disease. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part B of the question, as at the 24th of March this year, there are 334 active cases. Unfortunately, 4 patients have passed away due to the dengue fever since the beginning of the year.
Thank you. I don't know whether the Honorable Minister may have the information, but what was the preparedness plan with regard to the therapeutic need of blood products such as platelets and fresh frozen plasma, which are paramount in the treatment of severe cases of dengue, which was so scarce during the peak of the epidemic?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am not privy to that level of information, and I would invite the Honourable Doctor to appreciate and bring a substantive question to the substantive Minister whenever he's back.
So let's move to the next question. Before moving to the next question, let me announce question B26, B30, B35, B52, B57, B58, B68, B75 have been withdrawn. I now call Honorable Abbas Mahmoud.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Port Louis that following the cyclone Bilal on the 15th of January 2024, several roads were damaged as a result of flooding. After the cyclone, all local authorities were requested to carry out a survey to assess the extent of the damages caused to secondary and lateral road under their respective jurisdictions. Following the survey, the Municipal Council of Port Louis submitted a list of 11 roads that were damaged and needed to be resurfaced or reconstructed to the tune of 41,165,500 rupees. A request for fund was submitted to the Ministry of Finance, and the financial clearance was obtained on the 14th of February 2024. I'm tabling a list of the 11 roads that needed to be resurfaced, and I've been told that bids are being prepared and it's going to be launched pretty soon.
Thank you, Speaker. Is the Minister satisfied of the volume of work that has been done till now?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as we know, after the cyclone, a lot of work, and not only the road work, but the drains and everything were damaged. So there was a lot of work done by the council, not just municipal, but district council as well. So, okay, it's taking a bit of time, but there has been a lot of damages in the drains, in the road. So, but the work is progressing.
Next question.
B28. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I would once again extend my deepest condolences to the bereaved families. I wish to inform the House that as soon as this tragic event was reported on Sunday, the 3rd of March this year, officers of my ministry immediately intervened to contact the 6 bereaved families. I am informed that site visits have been conducted by the family counseling officers and psychologists of my ministry on the 4th and the 5th of March at the residence of all the bereaved families at Triolet, Trobisch, and Suyac, where family members were provided with in-depth psychological counseling. And of course, follow-up is being maintained in all the cases. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am further informed that a psychologist of my ministry conducted a site visit at the SSR National Hospital on the 4th of March to provide psychological support to the victims who were injured during this accident. However, the officer was informed that the victims who were admitted thereat were already discharged except for 2 of them. The officer was also apprised that all those who were injured have been attended to by both the psychiatrists and the clinical psychologists of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and at their end, follow-up was being maintained as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Ministry of Health and Wellness that a psychological evaluation was done to determine the most appropriate intervention in each case. Emotional support was provided in helping the individual to stabilize from the acute grief reaction.
Monsieur le Président, ce tragique incident a bouleversé l'île Maurice entière. La
So
ministre,
this is a supplementary question. Put the supplementary. I allowed you. You asked the permission. I allowed you to put a supplementary question. So put the question.
thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank you to understand.
La ministre peut-elle informer la Chambre la raison pour laquelle elle n'a pas considéré nécessaire de rendre visite à la famille du mineur décédé et aux autres mineurs blessés dans ce tragique incendie de Kawal, étant donné que son ministère est responsable des mineurs? Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the parliamentary question that has been put forward by the 4th member for Vacqua Floreal is quite specific and self-explanatory, and I have provided the answers pertaining to that parliamentary question.
Okay, let's move to the
Comment,
next
c'est un fait
question. I'll call MP Nagalingom.
B29, please.
Order. What is happening?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the source of the dog population problem in our country is a high number of unsterilized dogs across the island. Numerous pet owners do not sterilize their pets and allow them to roam freely in their localities. The unwanted puppies born from their pets are often dumped and abandoned, thus adding up to the population of stray and free-roaming dogs in Mauritius. In order to tackle the free-roaming dog population, the Mauritius Society for Animal Welfare, MSOR, has implemented the Sustainable Project for the Dog Population Control in Mauritius since June 2022, whereby free mass sterilization of dogs is carried out across the island. Funds to the tune of 30 million rupees have been earmarked under the National Environment and Climate Change Fund for implementation of the above project. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the MSOR has, as a date, sterilized 10,480 dogs. I'm also informed that the MSO organized 38 sterilization campaigns of dogs in the area of Beaubassin-Rosil, wherein 609 own dogs have been sterilized. Moreover, the MSO has carried out a total of 74 catch, neuter, release interventions in the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also informed that the MSO, in collaboration with the Municipal Council of Beaubassin-Rosil, will hold a major mass sterilization campaign in the month of April 2024. The activities will comprise free registration, free sterilization, and adoption of dogs. The target of this campaign is to sterilize around 200 own dogs during the event. The honourable member will also appreciate that numerous interventions are done in the region by the MSO, whereby cases pertaining to aggressive dogs are handled to ensure the safety of the public, and injured dogs are also rescued. Furthermore, following a complaint made by the Honourable Mrs. Fazila Jiwadoriawu with regard to the presence of stray dogs in the yard of Stanley Municipal Center and Pre-Primary School, 2 interventions were carried out by the MSO. Mr. Speaker, sir, not done yet. I would therefore like to make an appeal to the residents of the locality of Rosil and its surroundings to take advantage of this campaign and have their dogs sterilized freely. On a final note, I would like to again bring to the attention of my colleagues and public at large that the sterilization of dogs is a sine qua non for a controlled dog population in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Is the Minister, Honourable Minister, aware that on the 19th February this year, several children attending the municipal pre-primary school of Avenue Beato Rosil were severely beaten by fleas transmitted by numerous stray dogs who were permanently present in the yard of the school?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I've just mentioned in my reply that Honourable Mrs. Fazila Doriawu, in fact, did contact me personally, and straight away I called the MSO and asked them to intervene, which they did. And in fact, on 2 occasions, they did intervene at that precise location to address this issue.
Can the Honourable Minister tell us if he has an updated statistic in terms of number of stray dogs in Mauritius? And what is the responsibility of MSO and its annual budget?
But your question was related to Rosil and its surroundings. Now you're asking a question around the whole. No, I am the speaker. Excuse me. So I have to regulate. So you're asking, I don't know if the minister has the reply for that for the whole country. Whereas you put your initial question for one region. You see, you're intelligent to understand this point I'm making. Okay, let's move on to the next question. MP Boulel.
Please, to 31. Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I shall reply to this speaker. Provisions have been made under the Environment Protection Act for the mechanism to deal with an oil spill. A national oil spill contingency plan was developed in 2003 and reviewed and updated last year to provide an integrated organizational framework for the effective and prompt response to oil spill pollution. The NOSCP sets out the roles and responsibilities of relevant authorities before, during, and after an oil spill. It also makes provision for a National Oil Spill Coordination Committee to be constituted to inter alia coordinate with all stakeholders regarding remedial and containment measures advise on the scientific and technical aspects of environmental protection and management, and recommend cleanup operations and measures for the disposal of pollutants. In line with the existing protocol, Mr. Speaker, sir, the NOSCC was set up following both oil spill incidents, that is from Marine Biotechnology Products Limited and Washride Services Limited in January and March, respectively. This interministerial committee, chaired by the Director of Environment, comprises representatives of the Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Center, the Special Mobile Force, the National Coast Guard, the Mauritius Ports Authority, the Road Development Authority, the National Parks and Conservation Service, the Forestry Service, and the Water Resources Unit of the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities. In planning the response to both incidents, the committee assessed the impacts on the estuary in light of the findings of joint site visits carried out by the public bodies concerned, and on the basis of tests conducted by relevant authorities. These include water quality monitoring in Rivulet Terre Rouge and the estuary, seawater quality monitoring and underwater ecological surveys, sediment testing, air quality monitoring, and analysis of fish and shellfish specimen, daily monitoring of migratory bird species, and monitoring of the health status of species growing in the estuary. To better gauge the impacts of the oil spills, monitoring exercises will be pursued by stakeholders in their respective field of expertise. Analyses would also be conducted to assess whether the food chain has been affected. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A1 of the question, provision has been made in the NOSCP for cleanup strategies and removal of oil. In view that the Rivulet Terre Rouge Estuary Bird Sanctuary is located within the port limit, the Port Louis Harbour Oil Spill Response Plan would be activated forthwith in the event of any oil spill in the port area which may threaten the estuary. Notwithstanding existing legal provisions, my ministry is envisaging to team up with the NPCS, and other relevant authorities in regard to the drafting of an oil spill contingency plan dedicated for the estuary. As regards part A2 of the question, and in line with the instruction issued by my ministry, MBPL submitted an oil spill disposal and remediation plan to my ministry on the 24th of January 2024. WSL has been requested to submit a remedial plan for the remaining works in the mangrove areas by end of March. Mr. Speaker, sir, the various oil spill incidents which have occurred over the past years have caused tremendous damage to our ecosystems. To hold polluters accountable for their actions, provisions relating to oil spill preparedness and response would be reinforced, and new legal requirements with regard to environmental and social governance will be introduced in the context of the proposed review of the legislative framework governing environmental protection very shortly. Mr. Speaker, sir, in relation to part B of the question, an inquiry has been initiated by the Terre Rouge and Rochebois police stations on the oil spill incidents. Concurrently, my ministry is awaiting advice from the Attorney General's office regarding relevant sections of the EPA under which the polluters would be held liable. Pursuant to Section 88 of the Act, the Police de l'Environnement issued a fixed penalty notice of 25,000 rupees to WSL for allowing oil to be deposited in Rivulet Terre Rouge. Since the Forests and Reserves Act of 1983 has been contravened in both cases, sanctions are also being envisaged by the Forestry Service.
Now, can you have a copy of the remedial plan till the oil contingency plan is finalized?
Sorry, I didn't understand you.
Can you have a copy of the remedial plan till the oil contingency plan is finalized.
Il n'y a absolument aucun problème, Monsieur le Président. Comme je l'ai dit, le dernier NESCP date de 2003, mais ce plan a été reviewed and updated last year. Si l'honorable membre souhaite avoir une copie de ce plan-là, ça ne me cause aucun problème, Monsieur le Président.
Yes. Will the Minister for the House, the Secretary General of the convention on Ramsar site, was she apprised of the accident that happened in the rivulet of Tiarouge?
Oui, je n'ai pas compris votre question. Excusez-moi.
Will the Minister inform the House if the Secretary General of the convention on Ramsar site has been fully apprised of the incident?
Yes, the rivulet Tiarouge Estuary Bird Sanctuary is the first Ramsar site of international importance for Mauritius, and that was designated on the 30th of May 2001. So it covers an area of 26 hectares and is managed by the National Parks and Conservation Service. The site is known to harbor 3 endemic plants and is used as feeding ground by at least 14 species of migratory birds. Yes, Mauritius has ratified the Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, especially as waterfowl habitat, Ramsar Convention in 2001. The National Parks and Conservation Service of the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security is a national focal point, and all the necessary authorities have been duly contacted. Sure.
B32, please.
Phoenix, that the extension of Baza Lane at Kanfukro was undertaken by the National Development Unit in 2021. Subsequently, the National Development Unit has informed that following a procurement exercise, the contract for the construction of Lachua Lane and extension of Baza Lane at Kanfukro was awarded on the 27th of April 2021. The date of the start of the work was the 20th of May 2021, and intended completion date was 15th of September 2021. However, I'm informed that the work could not start as road alignment could not be provided by the Municipal Council of Bakwa Phoenix due to unavailability of a sworn land surveyor. The project was consequently put on hold as from the 20th of May 2021 till 22nd of August 2022. The road alignment was confirmed by the land surveyor of the council on the 22nd of February 2022. The work started on the 23rd of August 2022, and during scarification and excavation work for the road, leakage were observed on the existing CWA pipes. The Central Water Authority had therefore to carry out the replacement of the existing pipes, and same were completed on the 14th of April 2023. The road work were completed on the 8th of August 2023 by the contractor and handed over to the council on the 9th of November 2023. I'm informed that after the passage of Cyclone Bereaved, a stretch of 55 meters along Baza Lane had been damaged due to seepage of water under the road base. The contractor has already been instructed to carry out the remedial work on the 18th of March 2024, and the contractor has mobilized on site as from the 25th of March 2024 to complete the work by the 8th of April 2024.
MP Usman Mohamed.
B33.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the National Housing Development Company Limited, NHDC, that in 2022, the Board of Directors decided to recruit a Chief Finance Officer for the NHDC and its subsidiary, the National Social Living Development Limited, NSLD, to ensure good governance and transparency. I'm further informed that a recruitment agency was, for that purpose, selected in early 2023, further to a bidding exercise. According to information provided by the NHDC, the said recruitment agency proceeded to shortlist 12 potential candidates for the position, followed by a further shortlisting exercise and interviews. I am given to understand that in February 2024, Mr. R.A.M. was appointed Chief Finance Officer of the NHDC and of its subsidiary, the NSLD. According to the NHDC, the relevant remuneration reflects the salary scale corresponding to the grading of internal positions and also takes into account the qualifications, experience, specific functions, and salary benchmarking. The total monthly remuneration drawn by the incumbent is stated by the NHDC to be 252,000 rupees. This consists of a monthly package of 225,000 rupees that includes extra hours, public holidays, overtime and weekends, along with a traveling allowance of 25,000 rupees per month for both commuted and official traveling, and a monthly allowance of 2,000 rupees.
And I ask the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister whether he is aware that the newly appointed CFO of the NHDC Limited, Mr. R.A. Baslan, is the brother of the DPM's political activist and current board member.
Excuse me.
Okay, I will withdraw that part. Okay.
No, excuse me. I'm the speaker, I have the right, I'm paid for that. When I start talking, you should stop. Okay, let's agree on that. Okay? I'm a very cool man. So
am I.
Your question is you're diverting from your main question. So I allow you one supplementary. Put a straightforward question to the main question.
I'm going to rephrase my first question so that it is compliant with your requirement.
But we don't have this in Parliament.
Can I ask the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister?
Paraphrasing or rephrasing during question time doesn't take this.
Okay.
I allow you.
We'll save time if you allow me to ask my question.
No, you will save time if you correct yourself.
I've agreed with you on this.
Okay. If you agree, go ahead.
Yeah.
Put your question. Straightforward.
Okay. Is in fact the brother of the current board member, Mr. Shamim Mahmood Maslan.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the short answer is no, I am not aware. Now, I have time and time again explained to the honourable gentleman in this House that the role of the Minister of Housing is not to run the NHDC, nor to interfere in the management of the NHDC. In fact, until the honourable gentleman put this question, I was not even aware that CFO had been recruited earlier this year by the NHDC. Now, if the honourable gentleman has any doubt in his mind, a lurking doubt that there has been impropriety either on my part or on the part of any other official, I am inviting him here and now to go out, to go to the relevant authorities, whether it is the police, ICAC, or whomsoever he considers appropriate, and denounce the alleged impropriety.
Let's listen to MP Boda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is B34.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that Mauritius is self-sufficient in most of fresh vegetables under normal climatic conditions. However, the volume produced varies according to seasons as well as prices, which are according to demand and supply. Owing to our tropical climate and climate change, the island faces adverse weather conditions impacting negatively on vegetable production. For instance, early this year, vegetable production was affected by more than 50%, mainly due to cyclone Belal. Mr. Speaker, sir, in view of the unforeseen shortage of vegetables on the local market at that time, and to stabilize the consequential increase in prices, my ministry initiated actions through the Agricultural Marketing Board, the AMB, to import fresh vegetables. On the other hand, import permits are being granted all year round for the imports of by private entities, as various crops cannot be produced locally. Mr. Speaker, sir, in respect to part A and B of the question, I'm informed that from January 2024 to 20th March 2024, the National Plant Protection Office of my ministry issued 972 import permits for the importation of some 865 tons of vegetables, comprising carrots, cabbage, cauliflower, sweet pepper, lettuce, beans, beetroot, broccoli, fine herbs, and chili, out of which imports by the AMB stand at 236 tons, while the private sector imported 629 tons. As local production of vegetables is expected to be back to normal by May 2024, no new imports will be made by that date. On the other hand, importation by regular private importers specific for the hospitality sector is being monitored closely by the NPPO. Mr. Speaker, sir, production of onions, potatoes, and garlic are highly dependent on seasonality. Production season is from end of July to December for potato, whereas for onion, it is from August to November. In view of the fact that their storage lasts only for a few months, importation of same is undertaken by the AMB to ensure consistent supply to the market. As regards strategic crops, I'm also informed by the Agricultural Marketing Board that some 4,564 tons of onions and 3,806 tons of potatoes have been imported, and the quantum imported for garlic amounts to 364 tons. At the moment, there is no shortage of these products, and the local market is fully supplied with. Mr. Speaker, sir, in respect of the markup policy, I wish to inform the House that all products imported by the AMB are sold at subsidized prices to the public, thus playing a key role in price stabilization in the local market. A markup of around 22 to 25% is applied on the cost prices of potatoes and onions, as the wholesale price is fixed by the AMB and retail price is fixed by the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection. The auction prices and volume of locally produced vegetables traded at the national wholesale market are affixed on a daily basis on the website of the AMB. Hence, a comparison made in prices at the markets and supermarkets, hypermarkets, shows a huge price difference. Mr. Speaker, sir, to support the consumers at a time when the prices of vegetables went up following the passage of cyclone Belal, government intervened through the AMB to import some highly consumed vegetables and put on sale at a reduced price. And I can say it brought some relief to the population. Mr. Speaker, sir, the possibility of applying the same formula and market policy as in the case of potatoes and onions to other vegetables is being looked into by my ministry together with the Food and Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, FARE, the Small Farmers Welfare Fund, the Agricultural Marketing Board, and the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection. All implications would have to be analyzed to ensure a win-win situation for producers, consumers, and stakeholders in the supply chain. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his answer. From the figures, he will agree to me that with me that we have about 15 permits being allocated per day, because you said 972 within 2 months. So are you confirming that you are granting 15 import permits to import vegetables per day?
I mean,
average?
If you were to bring it to an average per day, yeah, that would be correct to say it. That if you take the number of days, the number of permits issued, divide the number of days during that period, it will come to that probably. I didn't make that calculation though, I must say.
Question, Mr. Speaker, sir. Is the minister aware that imported goods, fruit items, I'm going to take two. A cabbage was sold at 300 rupees in a supermarket, and patisson, that is custard squash, was sold at 800 rupees. Can the minister consider a mechanism together with the Minister of Commerce to see that such abusive prices cannot be practiced in supermarkets in Mauritius for goods which are being imported?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, we all know that we are an island which is exposed to cyclones and other calamities, natural calamities. And every time we have been faced by those calamities, it has an impact on the production of vegetables. And of course, it reflects on the price that's being practiced. It's a question of supply and demand. And that is why this time, at the level of the government and the ministry, we intervene to at least mitigate the price hike of certain highly consumed vegetables. And in fact, for cabbage, we did, through the AMB, import a certain quantity and put it on sale at 50 rupees per kilo, at least to mitigate that the high prices being practiced by supermarkets. In fact, we did invite the consumers to go to those selling points of the AMB to buy those products that we imported and being sold at a subsidized price to alleviate this issue of high prices being practiced by some supermarkets.
Next question, MP Béranger.
B36.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I shall reply to parliamentary questions B36 and B73 together as they relate to the same issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, the recurrent disruption of electricity supply at the Floréal State Secondary School was due to the theft of electrical cables. I'm informed that on Friday, 11th November 2022, during school holidays, officers of the Energy Services Division of the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development carried out a site visit and noted that electrical wires had been stolen from an electric panel at the school, resulting in the interruption of power supply in the activity room, chemistry and physics labs. On resumption of school, arrangements were made to restore power supply in these specialist rooms and laboratories. I'm further informed that a second theft occurred on Friday, 22nd September 2023, whereby one of the main cables from the transformer room was stolen. This resulted in a power cut in the administrative block, laboratories, and library. A contract was awarded to KC Electricals Limited on 12 December 2023 for the repair works, which were to be completed by 21st March 2024. While works were in progress, a third theft occurred on Saturday, 2nd March 2024, whereby all the remaining main electrical cables from the transformer room were stolen, and this time the whole school was deprived of electricity. Subsequent to the third theft, the contractor was on site on the 7th March 2024 and was requested to carry out the necessary repairs as recommended by the ESD. Pending the completion of the works, the installation of a generator was envisaged. However, the Energy Services Division advised that installation of a generator would also require repairs to the electrical cabling network, and therefore it would be better to proceed with the electrical cable repairs itself. I am informed that on Saturday, 9th March 2024, the cables were again stolen, but the contractor being on site ensured that the works are completed and the power supply was subsequently restored on Thursday, 14th March 2024 at around 17 hours. All 4 cases of thefts were reported immediately to the police, and the latter has informed that the investigations are still ongoing. Mr. Speaker, sir, the following actions also have been taken by my ministry to strengthen security measures. The doors of the transformer room have been reinforced. The metal gate at the rear of the schoolyard, giving access to the transformer room, has been reinforced with metal bars. The duct carrying the main electrical cable from the transformer room to the school have been covered with concrete. One additional security guard has been posted at the school. Furthermore, the police has been requested to effect regular patrol in the vicinity of the school.
La ministre a fait mention elle-même de plusieurs vols de câbles qui durent depuis plus d'1 an. Peut-elle nous dire précisément quand est-ce que le contrat avec une agence de sécurité a été alloué, à qui et pour combien de temps? Merci.
See, I'll just give you the information. I'm informed, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the contract has been allocated. The contract was initially allocated to RSL Securities for daytime security services and RSS Securities for nighttime security services. The contract has been awarded, a new contract awarded to RSL as from February 2024.
Monsieur le Président, je vous remercie. Madame la vice-première ministre, pourriez-vous expliquer à la Chambre comment un problème d'approvisionnement d'électricité qui a perduré pendant près de 2 ans au SSS de Floréal a soudainement été résolu en quelques heures seulement, le jour même de la manifestation des étudiants? Merci.
Monsieur le Président, au cours de ma réponse, j'ai bien fait ressortir qu'il y avait déjà un contracteur sur les lieux pendant que les câbles ont été volés. Et de ce fait, on a demandé au contracteur de s'assurer que les travaux se fassent rapidement. Les travaux étaient déjà en cours et bien sûr, étant donné que le contrat devait être terminé, ou plutôt le travail aurait dû être soumis le 21 mars, on a fait pression et de ce fait, le contracteur s'est assuré que les travaux soient complétés le 14 mars.
B37.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to parliamentary question B1681 on the 5th December 2023, I informed the House of the complexity for the construction of an access road at Boulingrin as requested by the inhabitants of the region. In this context, I'm informed that the NDU and the RDA had further consultations on the matter and have taken cognizance of the situation whereby the inhabitants of Boulingrin village are having difficulties to access the village of Long Mountain. Furthermore, the existing access road is not in good condition and worsens during heavy rainfall, being prone to water and mud accumulation The said road is narrow and risky. The more so as vehicles and pedestrians use the same access to travel between Boulingrin and Long Mountain. In addition, there is no proper lighting on the road. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to alleviate the difficulties being faced by the inhabitants and following discussion with officers of my ministry, with also relevant stakeholders, including the Honourable Member herself, some short-term measures are being envisaged, namely, first, the reinstatement, upgrading of the existing access road as far as practicable. Second, provision of proper lighting on that road. Third, installation of traffic light to allow the vehicle to drive through the access road safely. And fourth, implementation of appropriate flood mitigating measures to prevent water mud accumulation on the road. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a long-term measure, the possibility for the construction of an overhead bridge across the motorway M3 to enable the safe movement of pedestrians to and from Boulingrin and Long Mountain is under study. In this context, a site visit with different stakeholders, namely the RDA, the NDU, the TMRSU, would be held shortly to assess its feasibility. The local authority concerned, namely the District Council of Pamplemousse, will also be invited for the site visit to consider the regular cleaning of the existing track used by the inhabitants to access Crèvecoeur. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, can the Honourable Minister give us a timeline for the measures he mentioned in his reply for his ministry to implement?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I said, there will be a meeting that will be held along with the site visit with all relevant stakeholders. And as soon as this site visit is done and whatever I've listed as measures is agreed upon, the work will start in the days to come.
Next question, MP Buchit.
B38.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that a list of the fleet of scavenging lorries of the 11 local authorities which provide in-house scavenging services, together with a condition, is being placed in the library of the National Assembly. It is to be noted that the District Council of Black River outsources all its scavenging service. With a view to improving the service delivery, my ministry launched a procurement exercise for the acquisition of the following vehicle and after obtaining the required fund from the Minister of Finance. 28 tipper lorries and 24 compactor lorries. That is 52 lorries together. Contracts have already been awarded for the acquisition of this vehicle, and as of date, 7 compactors have already been delivered to 6 local authorities, namely Municipal Council of Port Louis, Quatre-Bonnes, Cuepipe, District Council of Pamplemousse, Moka, and Savane, respectively. The remaining 45 vehicles will be delivered during this year to the local authorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, government has, in line with its objective of making Mauritius a green and a sustainable economy, decided to inject funds to the tune of 170 million rupees in the modernization of the scavenging lorries of the local authorities.
And the Honourable Vice Prime Minister inform the House what are the measures being taken to ensure the timely acquisition of new lorries, particularly in the local authorities experiencing poor services due to the breakdown issues, in order to alleviate the reported backlog?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we are not providing poor services because normally when you have such a large fleet of lorries, you are going to have maintenance on the lorries. A lot of these lorries are being maintained. That's why they're out of service, number one. And secondly, we are buying, as I mentioned, 52 lorries to replace it over 7 we have received already. It takes time to get the lorries. Even if you put a large number, we try to purchase such a large number. It's not easy to get it all at the same time. That's why it's taking its time. But hopefully by the end of this year, we should be able to get all the lorries on site.
MP Amos.
E39. Mr. Speaker, sir, I shall reply to this parliamentary question with your permission. In fact, as the House is aware, on 11th of March 2024, the Sanuru Jagannath Bridge has been opened to vehicular traffic. The bridge is a unique and complex structure, spanning over a length of 330 meters and a height of 120 meters over the ground. With the opening of the bridge, I'm informed by the RDA and the police department that the traffic flow has greatly improved during peak and normal hours and has drastically reduced travel time along the roads, namely from Coromandel toward Port Louis, on Black River Road at the junction of Monte S, at Grande Rivière Nord-Ouest Junction at La Tour-Kénique, Pointe-Sable, at Cité Balégie by Plaine-Lezon, and from Port Louis towards Grande Rivière, La Tour-Kénique, Pointe-Sable, Cité Balégie, and Plaine-Lezon. Moreover, according to feedback received from the general public, the opening of such bridge has resulted in a marked improvement of the travel time during peak hours for road users and a visible reduction in traffic in different locations, namely at Eben, Réduit, Rosil, Vendémeche, Beaubassin, Grande Rivière, Belle Village, Coromandel, Gros Caillou, and Petite Rivière. Traffic from the center and the north has now started using such bridge, and the A1 Ifri Road to the west, thereby significantly reducing traffic volumes along Phoenix, Bouchons Link Road, and traffic congestion at Pontfair, Saint-Lucien, Bouchons, and to Cascade region. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed by the RDA that as a safety measure, prior to the opening of the bridge, a fencing of 2 meters high and comprising also barbed wires have been installed throughout the whole bridge railing. Moreover, with a view to providing a more effective deterrent to any person with suicidal intention, I'm informed that the RDA has already planned to install a more detailed system of angle and horizontal barbed wires protruding from the footpath. This system will act as an additional physical barrier to stop falls while also discouraging any climbing attempts. The proposed system will also be implemented in such a way to blend aesthetically with the bridge. The design of the proposed system is being reviewed and refined, taking into consideration the impact of strong winds on this additional structure. Additional security measures will be provided at each end of the bridge, such as security fencing to prevent access to the abutments. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards the installation of safe city camera along the bridge, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that action is being initiated for the implementation of same at the earliest. In addition, no waiting signs, posts, and double lines will all soon be placed on both sides of the bridge. Furthermore, several measures have been put in place by the police to ensure security of road users and vehicular traffic, such as performing standby duty at the bridge during daytime and frequent patrol during nighttime, preventing parking along the lay-by and along the road to prevent obstruction along both ways to minimize the risk of accident and damage to public infrastructure, and regular speed checks. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part B of the question, given the magnitude and complexity of such bridge, and also in view of the strong winds which prevail in that region, risk management studies, investigation have been carried out at different stages of the project from conception to implementation and beyond. Prior to the construction, various risk management studies, investigation have been carried out, taking into consideration international norms and standards that accepted practice of construction and safety requirements for the undertaking of such complex works. During the construction stage, essential care was taken to ensure safety of workers and the site through a dedicated specialized unit to oversee any risky situation. After the completion of the bridge, appropriate risk management tests have been carried out in accordance with internationally recognized requirements for such a complex bridge, including first load tests consisting of 28 heavy loaded truck of 30 ton each were aligned to reproduce the most critical load condition on the bridge and to assess the deflection. I'm informed that the deflection recorded was within the expected design deflection, implying that the bridge is operating within its design characteristic with no risk of structural collapse. And secondly, a road safety audit of the bridge and auxiliary road has been carried out by a team of independent professionals specifically to address the risk of any possible hazard. In addition, a team from the Road Development Authority and the Korea Expressway Corporation of South Korea is also carrying out regular visits to the bridge for monitoring of all aspects, including safety of pedestrians, safety of traffic, and safety of the public in general. Besides, an assessment of the conditions of operation of the bridge is continuously being done by the RDA, which includes stakeholders management with the police department, National Disaster Risk Management Center, the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit, the fire services, with a view to mitigating risk of accident and damage to infrastructure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I also had the chance to go and visit the bridge this morning, and I've noted that eventually there is a 2-meter height fencing of very poor quality and a barbed wire as flexible as my hairs. So may I know from the minister when he intends to replace it as it just replaced?
You're saying things as if you're an expert. You're not an engineer. This is your opinion. How can you express your opinion? Put a supplementary question. The same subject, please. Stay quiet. Stay quiet, please. Put a supplementary question, put the same subject matter, but directly, without your opinion, without any hypothesis. So I stopped you there, no question. So next question. You have a question, Honorable Bada, please?
I asked the Honorable Minister which company carried out the stress test on the bridge.
As you are aware, we had, of course, other RDA team was there. We had the Korean Expressway Corporation who did the design, evaluation, and risk and solution. We had the Sistra International Bridge Technologies, which is an international French design. And you also had COWI, COWI, who counter-checked all the tests that were being done. And you also, just for your information, you also have Olsen APS International Danish that work on the wind modeling. You have the ARQ Consulting Engineers International South Africa who work with geotechnical engineering. You have SEFTIM from France who work with the lighting protection. If all these people, international repute our poor quality, so I don't know what good quality would have been. Thank you.
Next question, MP Sikian.
E40.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of QPIP that 2 complaints were received at the level of the council regarding illegal construction of a wall across a river on the Frederic Bonfay Street in QPIP. The first complaint, dated 30th of January 2024, was addressed to the Minister of Environment and Solid Waste Management and copied to the Municipal Council of QPIP, amongst others. The second complaint was received via the Citizen Support portal on the 12th of February 2024. On the 23rd of February 2024, the Municipal Council of QPIP carried out a site visit and observed that a concrete wall of 5.25 meters long and 2 meters high had been constructed across a watercourse. Consequently, on the 28th of February 2024, a pulling down notice was served on the offender pursuant to Section 127C of the Local Government Act in order to pull down the wall on the river course within a delay of 30 days from the time of the service of the notice. I'm also informed by the Municipal Council of Cupid that the offender has submitted an undertaking in writing that he would pull down the illegal boundary wall by the 28th of March 2024. Should the offender fail to take necessary action within the prescribed delay, a case will be lodged by the council in court against the offender, and the court will be requested to issue an order for pulling down of the illegal structure. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also been told by the council that the DPM has contacted them for some time now to expedite matters as far as this project is concerned.
Can I ask the Honorable Vice Prime Minister whether he's aware that many houses were flooded because of this illegal construction?
The Speaker, sir, that's what I was told, but as soon as we came to know about it, the Council has acted very quickly, and as we have seen.
Can I ask the Honorable Vice Prime Minister whether he can reassure the House that the authorities will not tolerate such illegal construction in the future?
I mean, it goes without saying, Mr. Speaker. I mean, naturally, we don't tolerate. We don't. That's why we are acting against that particular person.
MP, no, it's okay. It's okay. Your question is over. MP, let MP David go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B41.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as the House is aware, following the passage of tropical cyclone Bilal, Mauritius witnessed a torrential rainfall on the 15th January 2024, causing inundation across Mauritius, but which was more pronounced in the region of Port Louis. In fact, a high-intensity rainfall of more than 120 millimeters of rain in a short span of time was recorded in Port Louis, coupled with a high tide of the sea. The region of Canal Dayot was indeed impacted by major water accumulation on that day. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the region of Canal Dayot was declared high-risk flood-prone area by the Land Drainage Authority in 2019, and attempts to implement flood mitigating measures in that region were unsuccessful, on which I will give details later in my reply. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard to Part A1 of the question, a post-assessment survey was conducted by the Land Drainage Authority on the 19th January 2024 in order to take cognizance of the causes of flooding in the region of Canal Dayot. And it emerged that the reasons attributed to the flooding were, firstly, the inadequate hydraulic capacity of the canal to convey the peak flow generated during the cyclone Bilal. Second, the limited capacity of Wussel Bridge to convey the flow. And thirdly, the surge as a result of the increase of sea level during the cyclone, which means here, Mr. Speaker, sir, that in fact it was sea water that was getting inland. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regard to Part A2 of the question, I'm informed that some 25 houses, commercial buildings, were impacted and the flood mark recorded was around 1.7 meters. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I wish to draw the attention of the Honourable Member that the history of flooding at Canal Dayot dates back to a decade. The House will recall that Canal Dayot was impacted in 2013, following which several measures were initiated as a matter of urgency by the NDU under the Emergency Rehabilitation Program. These include cleaning and dredging of River Saint-Louis, deepening and widening of the river wherever necessary, and supply and laying of rock bunds on the bank of the river wherever required. Following another episode of flash flood on the 30th March 2018, the NDU was called upon to undertake remedial works at Canal Dayot, comprising the enlargement and desilting of the river, securing both river beds with rock bunds, and the construction of internal drains in Canal Dayot village. On the 13th March 2022, several regions around Mauritius were severely hit by heavy rain, which led to significant flooding and water accumulation. The region of Canal Dayot was again affected as the river was running at its full capacity, which led to backflow of water in the drainage network, resulting in water accumulation and flooding of several houses. Although it was observed that the retaining wall constructed at Canal Dayot following the flooding of 2013 proved to be effective in preventing major inundation as experienced in the flooding of 2013, it has run short of capacity due to climate change unpredictability. Mr. Speaker, sir, following a survey carried out by the Land Drainage Authority after the March 22 flooding, the following measures were recommended. Desilting of River Saint-Louis to increase the hydraulic capacity, removal of illegal dumping at Saint-Louis River, raising of the existing flood wall by 1 meter on approximately 400 meters on both sides along the residential settlement of Canal Dayot to cater for peak flows for a return period of 1 in 100 years. Provision of a flap valve at the outlet of the drain from McPherson Street to ensure that there is no backflow in the event River Saint-Louis is running at peak flow. Upgrading of Russell Bridge on A1 Saint-Louis Saint-Jean Road to cater for peak flows. Mr. Speaker, sir, the priority of this government has been and will continue to be the safety of our citizens, our population, for which my ministry has left no stone unturned to implement the measures recommended by the LDA for Canal Dayot. In this respect, Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the raising of the existing flood wall and provision of flap valve at the outlet of the drain from McPherson Street, the NDU has appointed a consultant on the 13th April 2022 for the design, supervision, and contract management of the upgrading works at Canal Dayot. Following approval of the design reports, a contractor was appointed on the 23rd of May 2022 for an amount of 13.7 million for the execution of works. The scope of works of the project comprise, among others, the following. First, cleaning of the River Saint-Louis, raising of the existing flood wall along River Saint-Louis, drain and associated works at discharge point, that is at end of McPherson Street, and cleaning of existing drain within the village. Works were scheduled to start 1st June 2022. However, prior to start of construction work, the contractor needed to access the flood wall through the premises of some 13 inhabitants whose houses are located near the river bank and also from Les Gaz Industriels Limited. Several public relation exercises were carried out with the inhabitants in the presence of the then PPS of the constituency, representatives of the Municipal City Council of Port Louis, and officers of my ministry to secure the right of entry on the concerned private lands. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is indeed unfortunate and a matter of regret that due to the reluctance of a few inhabitants, led blindly by certain politicians, the mauvaise foi, the right of entry to carry out the work was denied. Therefore, the contract has been cancelled 11 October 2022, and all those owners who had granted right of entry on their land to implement the mitigating measures were informed in view of the fact that despite our unrelenting efforts, few owners had categorically refused to allow access on site for the works, which led to the termination of the contract. Mr. Speaker, sir, had we been allowed to implement the mitigating measures as requested by the LDA in 2022, the situation of January 2024 would have been otherwise. But again, unfortunately. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have stated in this House on several occasions, climate change impact worldwide is very unpredictable, and all measures taken can only mitigate its effect. No country is able to talk of alleviation or elimination because the matter is so complex and dynamic that infrastructure runs short of capacity in extreme weather conditions. Subsequent to Cyclone Belal, the Land Drainage Authority has carried out a survey at Canal Dayot, and the following measures have been proposed. Upgrading of wall at Canal Dayot Street, reconstruction of the Russell Bridge to ease the flow to increase the hydraulic capacity, and drain works in the region of Pai. I sincerely hope that my ministry or any implementing agency and the designated contractor will be given appropriate right of entry during the implementation phase. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also informed that the cleaning and desilting of the Saint-Louis stream including Canal Dayot and Mont Ori stream was carried out in September 2022 over a total stretch of 9 kilometers for a total amount of 13.6 million. For the current financial year, I'm advised that an amount of 9.6 million has been earmarked for the desilting works of River Saint-Louis, including Canal Dayot, and is expected to start in April 2024 under the supervision of the Municipal Council of Port-Louis. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So that's a long reply. I give you one question.
One question.
Of course.
Monsieur le Président, le ministre a répété ce qu'il a déjà dit en conférence de presse, à savoir la résistance de certains habitants.
Please. Whatever mistake the minister makes, this is his problem. Your problem is to put a supplementary question. Put the question. I want to listen to your question.
Par rapport à la résistance évoquée par le ministre sur certains habitants face au soulèvement de ce mur de rétention le long de la rivière Saint-Louis, le ministre peut-il nous dire s'il existe un document en bonne et due forme où cette opposition de certains habitants a été minutée et si lui peut-il déposer ce document à la Chambre?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we've got all the required documents. Meeting has been held by the then PPS. Mrs. Honorable Doreen Chakuri was then PPS. We have had several meetings. We have had meetings with the Lord Mayors. We have had meetings with the Deputy Lord Mayor. The then Deputy Lord Mayor, Mr. Danny Augustin, was there. So, yes, it's all minuted. Whether it's appropriate to table it, I'll consult my officers to see. But we have absolutely no issue. I don't think we have time to come here and dire n'importe quoi. We know what we are talking. We are people that work.
Honorable members, I have to inform the House. Order. I am talking. I am talking. Please quiet. You quiet. The question B44, B56, B64, B67, B74, B81, B61, B59 have been withdrawn. I now move to the other questions. MP Rampal.
B42.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the District Council of Grand Port that the renovation work of Mayberg Market Fair will be implemented by the Ministry of National Infrastructure and Community Development through its framework contract. With regard to part A of the question, the renovation work concerns the demolition of an existing iron sheet covering, which is in a deplorable state and unhygienic condition. The scope of work consists of the following: demolition of the existing structure and carting away of debris, casting of reinforced concrete floor, provision of corrugated iron sheet roofing, provision of gutters, upgrading of drains network, and provision of firefighting equipment. As regard to part B and C of the question, the total cost of the project is estimated at 17,275,000 rupees, and the project is expected to be completed in 3 months' time after the work order is issued by the MNI. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm further informed by the District Council of Grand Port that presently it is undertaking the relocation of the 203 stallholders, that is 187 dealing in vegetable and fruits and 16 dealing in cakes and beverages, prior to handing over the site to MNI. In this context, a meeting was held by the District Council of Grand Port on the 2nd of February 2024 with the Traffic Management and Road Safety Unit, the police, and MNICD to decide on the relocation of the stallholders. The District Council of Grand Port expect to complete the relocation exercise by the first week of April 2024 and subsequently hand over the site to MNICD for implementation of the project.
We move to the next question. B46, MP Armands.
B46.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis that desilting of Saint Louis River and upstream have been carried out as early as the 25th of July 2022. The project cost was 13,673,494 and 35 cents. The site comprised Canal Dayot, Upper Stream, Monterey Stream, and Saint Louis River Motorway M1. Other cleaning and desilting work has been completed on the 15th of March 2024 along Saint Louis Stream on a stretch of about 400 meters. The cost estimate is 308,200 rupees. Moreover, cleaning and desilting work along Canal Dayot and Saint Louis River, starting from Aqueduct towards the outlet, have started on the 22nd of March 2024 for a duration of about 12 days on a stretch of 400 meters approximately. The cost estimate is 358,800 rupees. Furthermore, I wish to point out that bids were launched for cleaning and desilting of River Saint Louis, number 1 and number 2, that is including Canal Dayot region, for the year 2024. The cost estimate is 9,600,000 rupees. The bid is at evaluation stage. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to preparedness plan, you may wish to note that a contingency plan for flooding of Canal Dayot has been devised for the region of Canal Dayot by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Center. The Municipal Council of Port Louis follows the same plan as it already defines the role and responsibilities of the concerned stakeholders in the event of imminent flooding within the region of Canal Dayot, so as to ensure the safety and inhabitants through timely and effective evacuation. I'm further informed by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis that a contingency plan for Canal Aqueduct for slope failure, soil erosion, and rockfall has also been devised. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition to the flood emergency plan, a community disaster response program has been implemented at Canal Dayot, whereby some 28 volunteers have been empowered on the concept of mutual help. It is worth pointing out that the community disaster response team has contributed in the development of the emergency plan. Flood simulation exercises were carried out on the 28th of October 2017 and in August 2019, respectively. Furthermore, a sensitization campaign on disaster risk reduction was held on the 10th of May 2023 for the inhabitants residing at Canal Dayot, highlighting the precautionary measures in the event of hazard or disasters. As a complement to the flood contingency plan, first responders are being pre-positioned at Canal Dayot for the safety of the inhabitant, including evacuation in case of needs.
Can the Honourable Minister confirm whether Canal Dayot is considered to be a flood-prone area, and if necessary, they will think about reallocation of all inhabitants there?
I don't have the information. I presume it may be, but I don't have the information. But as you are aware, has been replied by my honourable friend that the work would have been completed a long time ago if we were allowed to raise the wall of that river. But unfortunately, because of some people, this work was not done.
Can the Minister confirm that during last rainfall cyclone Bilal, whether there has been a survey to determine how many households has been flooded by the water from the River Saint Louis?
I don't have that information with me just now, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next question, MP Uchit.
B47.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would very kindly refer the honourable member of opposition to my reply today itself to be B28 as a matter of.
So we move to the next question. MP David.
B49.
You've been referred to the reply. So what supplementary you want to ask? What supplementary? You have no right to put new questions. You know that. So I already ruled. MP David, go ahead with your question.
B49.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as indicated in my previous reply to PQ B31, there have been 2 oil spills in the region of Rivulet-Terre Rouge Estuary Bird Sanctuary from January 2024 to date. The first incident occurred on the 18th of January 2024 and resulted from a leakage in the heavy fuel oil line feeding the boiler of Marine Biotechnology Products Limited, situated at Richter-Terre Rouge. An estimated of 1,500 liters of HFO were spilled and reached the estuary through Rivulet-Terre Rouge. An area of around 2,500 square meters at this estuary was in fact affected. Oil stains were observed on at least 4 migratory birds, mangrove roots, rocks, the banks of Rivulet-Terre Rouge, and grosses in the mudflats. And high levels of oil and grease were detected in the water at Pont-Bruniquel and the estuary. However, no casualty among migratory birds was reported. No dead fish was seen in the rivulet, at sea, and in the estuary. Total hydrocarbon and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon were not detected in the fish or shellfish specimen collected in the lagoon at Bejutombo. The seawater was within the limits of the coastal water quality guidelines, and no oil and grease was detected. The underwater ecological survey showed no adverse impact on the marine ecosystem in the lagoon or in the estuary. No odor was discernible during ambient air screening exercises, and all volatile organic compounds screened were below the detectable limits. With regard to cleaning and restoration, Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan was activated immediately upon my ministry being informed of the incident, and the National Oil Spill Coordination Committee, comprising relevant public bodies, was set up to coordinate the oil spill response. The MBPL caused the ruptured pipe to be sealed on the same day to prevent further entrainment of oil. The company also enlisted the services of Virgin Oil Company Mauritius Limited and of Polygreen Mauritius Limited for the pumping of oil and cleaning of the rivulet and the estuary. To prevent the dispersion of oil, Sorbet and fence boom were deployed by Polygreen Mauritius Limited, the National Coast Guard, the Special Mobile Force, and the Mauritius Ports Authority at various locations, including Pont-Bruniquel, in the rivulet and in the estuary. By the 22nd of January 2024, oil and grease was below detectable level in both the rivulet and the estuary. Cleaning operations were completed by the end of February. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second incident, which occurred on the 11th of March 2024, involved a spill of 1,175 liters of low sulfur fuel oil due to a defective valve in the piping system supplying fuel to the boiler of Washrite Services Limited, situated at Le Hocher, Terre Rouge. The oil reached the estuary through Rivulet-Terre Rouge, and as per observations made and tests carried out, rocks in the rivulet and mangrove roots in the estuary were stained with oil and tar, although no oil was seen on birds or in the mudflats at the estuary. No fish kill was seen in the rivulet, at sea, or in the estuary. Oil and grease and total hydrocarbon were detected in the water in rivulet Terre Rouge and in the estuary near the bird hide, but not in the sediment and seawater samples. And no odor was discernible during the ambient screening exercises, and volatile organic compounds screened were below the detectable limits. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the time of the second oil spill, the NOSCP was still in activation mode. To coordinate the oil spill response, 4 meetings of the NOSWC have been held so far. WSL took appropriate measures to stop further leakage of oil from its defective valve, and enlisted services of Polygreen Limited for the containment of the oil and cleanup exercise, with Virgin Oil Company Limited was appointed to pump and cart away the contained oil. Sorbent and fence boom were again deployed in the rivulet and the estuary to contain the oil. As at 22nd of March 2024, 875 liters of oil have been recuperated from the oil pump. The cleanup exercise is expected to be completed by next week. In the meantime, WSL has been requested to submit a remedial plan for the remaining works in the mangrove areas by the end of March. To ascertain whether fish and crabs from the estuary are fit for consumption, the Ministry of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping would be testing samples for the presence of heavy metals. I am informed that the assistance of the Secretariat of the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands will be sought by the NPCS for the restoration of the rivulet Terre Rouge Estuary Bird Sanctuary, in case significant impacts to the ecosystem are observed during forthcoming monitoring exercises. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 32(3)(a) of the EPA, Environment Protection Act, provides that the owner of a pollutant shall be presumed to be liable for any damage caused by a spill. Furthermore, Section 33(1)(b) empowers the Director of Environment to recover from the owner of a pollutant which is spilled all costs and expenses incurred from the cleanup operation and from measures taken to prevent, eliminate, or reduce the adverse effects of a spill on the environment and for the disposal of the pollutant. Costs incurred by the Solid Waste Management Division of my ministry in terms of waste disposal, as well as costs for laboratory tests outsourced by my ministry and other public bodies, would accordingly be claimed from MBPL. Claims for costs incurred by different stakeholders in responding to the oil caused by the MBPL was expected at my ministry by 31st of March 2024 for an internal assessment prior to submission to the company for reimbursement. The same legal provisions would be applied for the oil spill incident provoked by WSL. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards part D of the question, provisions relating to oil spill preparedness and response would be further reinforced in the context of the forthcoming review of the legislation framework governing environmental protection. In this respect, it is proposed to review the legislation to provide oil spill and environmental emergency instead of only spill and environmental emergency, with a view to strengthen legal provisions to better address preparedness and response to oil spills and environmental emergencies. In the meantime, a letter has been issued to 112 industries, of which 13 within the catchment area of Rivulet Terre Rouge, requesting them to take appropriate measures to prevent any oil spill from the liquid fuel being stored at their level. Joint site visits would be undertaken by relevant public bodies to verify the adequacy of measures put in place. In light of findings which will be examined by an interministerial technical committee at the level of my ministry, further measures would be recommended to address risk. This committee would comprise representatives of the Ministry of Local Government, Disaster Risk Management, Ministry of Energy, Public Utilities, including the Water Resources Unit, the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security, including the Forestry Service, the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Mauritius Fire Rescue Service, amongst others. The Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training has been approached for information regarding companies operating steam boilers and storing fuel, and companies, industries storing liquid fuel and chemicals of hazardous nature have been requested by way of a communiqué dated 21st of February 2024 to ensure that tanks, valves, piping systems are properly secured to minimize risk of spillage during adverse weather conditions. My ministry and the Police Information and Operation Room should be contacted in case of an oily spill, and the industry should immediately activate their response plans to contain the spill. I am also informed, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the NPCS is envisaging the procurement of soap booms that would be stocked at the Rivulet Terre Rouge Estuary Bird Sanctuary and would place permanent mooring structures for these booms. A dedicated oil spill contingency plan for the estuary would also be worked out by the NPCS in collaboration with my ministry and other stakeholders.
Table is advised that PQ B50, B77 have been withdrawn. The time is over by 4 minutes. The question, let me talk. The question contained 4 parts. The minister took almost 5-6 minutes to answer. I have an order paper. I have the rest. Please don't discuss. This is a ruling. It's my discretion. And you cannot question it. So we move on.
Motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Question that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statements by ministers.
Able to sign.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I wish to make a statement on the performance of the Republic of Mauritius at the 13th African Games. It is with immense pride that I address the House today to highlight the outstanding achievements of the Republic of Mauritius at the recent 13th African Games held in Ghana from 8 to 23rd March 2024. Mauritius has excelled in this edition of the Games, clinching a total of 25 medals. Our athletes showcased their talents by securing 9 gold medals, 5 silver medals, and 11 bronze medals. This remarkable performance at continental level placed the Republic of Mauritius in the top 10 on the medal table among 54 countries. Mauritius has surpassed its previous performance at the Games held in Morocco in 2019, where we secured 24 medals, including only 6 gold. The Mauritian flag soared high in Accra, and it is with great pleasure that we extend our heartfelt congratulations to all our athletes and our medalists for their resounding victories. Their dedication, tenacity, and selfless commitment to our nation have been truly commendable. Despite daunting challenges and scorching temperatures nearing 40 degrees Celsius, the African Games displayed the unwavering determination and resilience of our athletes. The prevailing team spirit, solidarity, and mutual support propelled our cyclists to claim 10 medals, including 3 gold, and our weightlifters to secure 9 medals, including 4 gold. Mauritius won its first ever gold medals, one in swimming and one in taekwondo. The relentless efforts and strong desire of our athletes to exceed their limits and proudly wave our national flag in Ghana's skies cannot be understated. Our medalists will be duly rewarded for their exceptional achievements. Long live our athletes and long live the Republic of Mauritius. Thank you.
Public Bill, second reading.
Now call Honorable Minister Dayot.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. It is indeed a pleasure to be back. With your permission, I move that the Protection and Promotion of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill, number 23 of 2023, be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, as Minister responsible for disability inclusion, I could not have missed this opportunity to introduce a comprehensive and landmark piece of legislation for persons with disabilities. This bill marks a pivotal moment in the history of Mauritius. Nobel Prize winner and humanitarian Pearl Buck once wrote, "The test of a civilization is in the way that it cares for its helpless members." Very true indeed. How we care for the most vulnerable of our society reflects the quality of it. Today, with a profound sense of duty and purpose, I present to this Assembly the Protection and Promotion of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Bill. I would like to seize this moment to acknowledge fellow citizens with disabilities and to extend my appreciation to all of the wonderful individuals who care for them and provide support in different ways. I congratulate them for the tremendous efforts they make in order that their rights are respected in society. Mr. Speaker, allow me to take a moment to extend my heartfelt thanks to our Prime Minister, Honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnat, under whose leadership this bill is a reality. The Prime Minister has been the driving force behind this unprecedented move. Mr. Speaker, we are committed to the principle that everyone is born equal and everyone should be given equal opportunities. We all should be included and valued. Disability is a fact of life. It can either be acquired by birth or in the blink of an eye due to a road accident, accident at work, or en vieillissant. It could happen to any one of us at any time. Unfortunately, none of that is foreseeable. So, of course, we got to think and act properly. Persons with disabilities faced very unique challenges. As parliamentarians, we need to make sure that we provide the support necessary to improve their lives. It is important to note that according to Statistics 2022 Population Census, the number of persons with disabilities in the Republic of Mauritius stands at approximately 84,500, representing 6.8% of the total population. 34,273 suffer from a disability of 60% and derive a basic invalidity pension. On this side of the House, we have long since 2014 started a process of inclusion of persons with disabilities in our decision-making. We have, over the years, increased provision in the budget for persons with disability. The Sustainable Development Goals pave the way towards a future where no one is left behind. To deliver the Sustainable Development Goals for, with, and by persons with disabilities, disability inclusion must form part in every development. Mr. Speaker, before we reach where we are today, there are major achievements which we have brought forward to promote an inclusive society. Allow me to go through them. First, the increase in the budget of my ministry from 13.9 billion in 2014 to 51.1 billion in 2023 is unprecedented. As you can see, we have over the years effectively worked out an excellent social safety net. In 2014, when we took office, the basic invalidity pension was less than the basic retirement pension, 3,267, compared to basic retirement pension, which was at that time 3,623. The basic invalidity pension increased from 3,267 to 13,500 today. In fact, one of our first actions has been to align all pensions. No discrimination, Mr. Speaker. In 2005, the basic invalidity pension was 2,025. From 2005 to 2014, over a span of 9 years, there has been an increase of 1,242 in the basic invalidity pension, whereas from 2014 to date, for the same period of time, our government increased the basic invalidity pension by 10,233. I'm so pleased to remind the House that we have waived the age criteria for children who are less than 15 years to benefit from the basic invalidity pension. Can you imagine previously, children less than 15 years were not deriving an invalidity pension just because of an age criteria? This was so unjust. Let me share with you a personal memory. Allow me to take you back to the year 2016. I was reading the newspaper about a mother who was not deriving an invalidity pension for her child, age 5, who was severely disabled as he had only half a body. You can imagine how her daily challenges were significant. Her husband was the only breadwinner of the family. She could not work as she had to take care of her severely disabled child. I was very disturbed and puzzled as to why that child was not benefiting pension. For me, it was unacceptable. It was a brutal reality at that time. It was so shocking and, I must say, a very worrying situation indeed. This remained on my mind. At that time, parents were very anxious. I have been told that they had called for government actions, but the answer has always been, you have to wait until your child turns 15. The most awful thing that was said to parents. I'm sure we all have examples we could share. The age criteria has had a disproportionate detrimental effect on those children. Fortunately, we changed that. Mr. Speaker, you would agree with me, illness is not an indulgence for which people have to pay. It is also not an offense for which they should be punished. This injustice was there for some 40 years. Parents had been waiting too long, 40 years, to obtain this right. C'était une discrimination flagrante. We could not tolerate such injustice. I immediately took it with our Prime Minister, who was then Minister of Finance. Our Prime Minister showed serious concern. Immediate and meaningful action was taken to correct this gross injustice. I have to thank the Prime Minister for that. He has been able to scrap the age criteria. Now all children, irrespective of age, are eligible. In fact, I must say policy is the art of the possible, n'est-ce pas? In 2022, we have made major amendments to the building control, accessibility, and gender compliance in building regulations 2017. The new regulations integrate a disability perspective. They promote physical independence for users of new buildings. Now, all new buildings and those undergoing major renovations are designed with access to persons with disabilities. Let me take this opportunity to urge all local authorities to avail themselves of these regulations and to monitor closely that the regulations are being respected in toto to the best interest of all people. Monsieur le Président, on doit reconnaître pour qu'une personne à mobilité réduite sorte de son environnement quotidien n'est pas une chose facile. In the present bill, we have included a schedule which puts an obligation on owners of new buildings to ensure that the building is accessible to any person with disability. As per the building regulations, accessibility features should be included in existing buildings whenever there are major reservations. For the time being, the legislation does not address the issue of accessibility to existing buildings. This remains a major challenge. Mr. Speaker, I would be the first to say that our existing buildings should be fully accessible. However, we do realize that it is something that cannot be achieved overnight. I therefore make an appeal to all building owners to see to it that the buildings are accessible to persons with disabilities, that some changes where possible are brought to the existing buildings so as to make it accessible to all. Mr. Speaker, let me now come to accessibility to public transport. True it is, our buses are not fully accessible. We agree it should not be so. However, we need to acknowledge that our roads are not designed for fully accessible buses. This is a major hurdle, but rest assured we are doing our best to address accessibility issues. Currently, I am having discussions with my colleague, Honorable Alan Ganu, to see what can be done to introduce better bus transport for disabled people. A good thing is that the newly introduced metro network has been designed to facilitate access to all. All platforms and trains are accessible and include digital text panels and a voice module. Our government is working towards extending the metro services around the island, which I'm certain will facilitate access to persons living with a disability. Mr. Speaker, to continue, in 2018, the age criteria to be eligible for duty-free facilities for the purchase of an adapted car was waived and the exemption was increased from 55% to 100%. Mr. Speaker, allow me now to address a major component of this bill, education. As the saying goes, education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. The Minister of Education will no doubt elaborate on the tremendous efforts that government has made for children with disability for their education. The Special Education Needs Authority, established in 2019, is in itself a testimony of the comprehensive manner in which our government approaches their educational needs. The National Empowerment Authority, which we are proposing in this bill, will surely work hand in hand with the Senate. The authority, by virtue of its objectives and functions, will have the framework necessary to assist the Senate. The Ministry of Education is working towards an increase in the number of children with disabilities participating in mainstream classes at all levels, primary, secondary, and public tertiary institutions. A challenge, one must say, which will be tackled to the best of our ability to empower our children, although we do know that integration of all children with disabilities with their peers in mainstream is a long-term process. But you would agree with me, where there is a will, there is a way, and we will find the way for sure. It is worth mentioning that some 200 educators have been trained in the special education needs courses run by the MIE, where a module on hearing impairment has been incorporated, and the teachers are exposed to the teaching of Mauritian Sign Language. In 2020, with the waiving of the age criteria on medical visits at home, we had around 15,000 additional beneficiaries to cater for. We recruited 250 medical practitioners. Today, we have a pool of 331 doctors to provide better medical facilities and medical visits at home to those who are severely handicapped or bedridden. In the year 2022-2023 budget, our government introduced a disability allowance of 2,500 for persons with a disability of 40 to 59% in an effort to provide financial support to more people. As at date, 473 persons are benefiting from this allowance. In the same budget, Mr. Speaker, government took another important decision to lift persons with disability out of poverty. The basic invalidity pension is no longer taken into account while assessing the eligibility of a person on the Social Register of Mauritius, SRM. If a person is deriving a basic invalidity pension, this pension is not categorized as an income. This is, I must say, really important. Un grand soulagement pour beaucoup de familles pauvres. Thanks to this measure, some 594 households are benefiting from the financial assistance and other assistance provided by the NEF. In the same budget year, the cash grant for the purchase of assistive devices was increased. We have also increased threshold for assistive devices from 30,000 to 35,000 for more people to benefit. We have also trained 60 public officers in the Mauritian Sign Language, and I must say this is an ongoing exercise. Increase in the frequency of the Mauritian Sign Language news bulletin from once to twice per week as from September 2022. As the Prime Minister stated in his reply to PQB 5-1 by Honorable Joanna Béranger, much effort is being made to increase the number of programs and bulletins in the Mauritian Sign Language. Mr. Speaker, formerly only certain type of amputations were eligible for the invalidity pension. This was a gross injustice towards persons who suffer other forms of amputations. We have now ensured that irrespective of the degree of amputation, all persons are eligible for the pension. Extension of Prima l'Emploi scheme to employers employing persons with disabilities in the budget 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, even in the social housing project, persons with disabilities have not been forgotten. For the first time in history, their housing needs are being taken care of. In all the projects, government is doing its best to include accessibility features to promote their physical independence. For example, no more hurdles for persons in wheelchairs. I wish to thank the Honorable DPM, Stephen Obigadu, for his support in this project to move towards an inclusive society. Thank you very much, Honorable DPM. We have recently taken another important step to facilitate access to the services provided by my ministry to persons with disabilities. The relocation of the Disability Empowerment Unit from the first floor of the NPF building to ground floor. This was long overdue. Now persons with mobility issues will easily access the unit and avail of the services and facilities. We have also renamed this unit as the Empowerment Unit instead of the Disability Empowerment Unit. This change is in line with what we want to achieve through the present bill. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, all the measures I have just mentioned reflect government's commitment to protect and advance the rights of persons with disabilities. With the progressive measures taken by government over the years, persons with disabilities are now better off. Mr. Speaker, allow me to briefly comment on the rationale of this bill. Government is committed to upholding and safeguarding the protection and promotion of the rights of people living with disability. We have tried to the best of our ability to make this bill consistent with the UN Convention requirements. As you know, the Republic of Mauritius signed the UN Convention in 2007 and ratified it in 2010. The convention consists of 50 articles. We have reservation on accessibility, Article 9, 2, D and E, and on education, Article 24, 2B. Now, having said that, as far as the other articles are concerned, there are some which deal with fundamental rights. For example, right to life, Article 10, liberty and security of persons, Article 14, freedom from torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment, Article 15, liberty of movement and nationality, Article 18, amongst others. These rights are enshrined in the Constitution. So all the articles of the Convention have not been inserted in the present bill as they are adequately covered in the Constitution. As for the other articles, they have been taken on board in the bill and adapted to the Mauritian context. The bill, I must say, brings us closer to realizing UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The bill addresses barriers preventing disabled people from enjoying their lives. This legislation will challenge discriminatory attitude and encourage people to be aware of the abilities of persons with disabilities. This bill will bring a paradigm shift. We are moving from a medical approach to a more social and human approach. Now the question is, does the bill do better? Of course, not only better, it is bringing a tremendous change in the lives of our persons with disabilities. D'ailleurs, Monsieur le Président, avant la rédaction de ce projet de loi tant important, on a été à l'écoute de tout un chacun. We have involved persons with disabilities, I must say, in every step of the bill from start to finish. I have fully engaged with all my colleague ministers. No matter how good a legislation is, it should be properly enforced. A workshop was organized by my ministry to gather views on the provisions of the bill. 78 NGOs in the disability sector and 36 disability focal points of different ministries participated. The NGOs have made submissions on how the bill could be shaped for the best impact. In developing the bill, we have consulted key independent government agencies such as Commissioner of Police, Commissioner of Prisons, Master and Registrar, Office of the Ombudsperson for Children, delegation from Rodrigues Regional Assembly, National Human Rights Commission, Equal Opportunities Commission, Special Education Needs Authority, Statistics Mauritius. We have also worked alongside the private sector and organizations such as Business Mauritius, Mauritius Bankers Association, Association of Human Resources of Mauritius, Professional Architect Council Mauritius, Construction Industry Development Board, the Building and Civil Engineering Contractors Association, the Council of Registered Professional Engineers of Mauritius, and Insurers Association of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, the explanatory memorandum sets out the objective of the bill. I do not intend to dwell longer on this, as you must all have taken cognizance of the objectives of this present important piece of legislation. However, in a nutshell, the bill aims at providing better protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities, giving effect to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, establishing a national empowerment authority, and encouraging the employment of persons with disabilities. I shall now address the House on the salient features of the bill. I would like to draw the attention of the House on the definition given to the term disability under the interpretation clause, clause 2 of the bill. Disability means a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment of a person which substantially hinders his ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. This definition has been aligned with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Disability is no longer defined as a medical condition only. Person with disability is defined as meaning a person who has one or more disabilities. Clause 3 binds the state. Every government, department, local authority, and statutory body shall be required to take into account the protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disability in their policies and programs. Mr. Speaker, Part 2 of the bill brings us to detailed provisions regarding prohibition from discrimination and abusive treatment. This part aims at prohibiting discrimination and abusive treatment in respect of persons with disabilities. Discrimination and acts of abuse shall constitute an offense punishable by law. Indeed, Clause 5 of the bill provides that no person shall discriminate against another person on the basis of his disability. Subclause 5(2) makes it an offense to discriminate on the basis of disability. This legislation will challenge discriminatory attitude and encourage people to be more aware of the abilities of persons with disabilities, as I have just mentioned. Changing one's attitude is fundamental to the overall success of disability reform. It is because, we all know it is because of attitude, allowing people to be treated differently, that we need legislation such as this one. People with disabilities can do amazing things. They simply need trust and empowerment, and not to be discriminated against or abused. I would like to inform the House that it is the first time that discrimination will be criminalized. The biggest challenge that people with disabilities face is, in fact, stigma and discrimination. This results in exclusion. We have, Mr. Speaker, to move towards a society free from unnecessary barriers and discrimination. Further, Clause 6 of the bill provides for prohibition from abusive treatment. Subclause 6.1 sets out the acts which constitute abusive treatment, and subclause 6.2 makes it an offense to commit an act of abuse. Any person who discriminates on the basis of disability or commits an act of abuse on a person with disability will, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 200,000 rupees and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years. Mr. Speaker, this bill confirms the willingness of the government to convey strong message to perpetrators of persons with disabilities by putting the fine up to 200,000 and an imprisonment up to 5 years. We are here saying no to discrimination and saying yes to inclusion. Clause 7 captures the prohibition of any research, medical, or scientific experimentation on a person with disability without his free and informed consent. We have restored the respect and dignity that every person with disability is entitled. Contraveners will be sanctioned on conviction by fine and imprisonment. We believe it is government's responsibility to provide leadership in these areas. Part 3 of the bill favors protection and promotion of rights of persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important part of the bill. Clause 8 to 14 promotes training and education, employment, protection, and safety of persons with disabilities in situation of risk and habilitations and rehabilitations. It also sets out the obligation of different stakeholders to ensure the continued protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities. The bill lays emphasis on the obligation of the state and other institutions as specified in the first schedule to take reasonable